General Hospital, GH. Spoilers suggest that Cyrus Renault's Jeff Cover days are numbered, and fans can feel as if he's on the cusp of being exposed for all his recent crimes. Still, what is his end game with the show, and how will he end up exiting storylines? After all, considering he's murdered at least 2 people, possibly more, plus his attempt on Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell, life recently, there's zero chance that once Cyrus is found out for his Digitalis run, he won't end up leaving Port Charles in either a coffin or set of police cuffs. General Hospital spoilers. Possibility number 1. Someone off Cyrus Renault, but how? GA spoilers reveal there are no such things as coincidences in Port Charles, and the fact that Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, recently found a gun at Dex Heller's Evanhofer apartment when she was cleaning up seems to suggest that she could take justice into her own hands and decide to off Cyrus if she finds out that he was not only responsible for stabbing Dex, but the Digitalis injection that ended his life. Not to mention his attempt on her brother's life, too. That is, unless Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, or Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, don't get to Cyrus first. When the truth is revealed about Sam McCall's Kelly Monaco passing, there will be many angry people looking for justice, and Joss might need to take a number. There's also the possibility that someone kills Cyrus in self-defense. There's always potential for Nurse Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, to remember something while working that incriminates Cyrus, only for the criminal to catch wind of it and attack her. Could she end up killing him in order to protect herself? The same scenario could unfold between Cyrus and Brad Cooper, Perry Shen, or Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr. GH spoilers. Possibility number 2. Cyrus is sent to prison again. GH spoilers indicate there's always a chance that Cyrus is exposed for his Digitalis serial killer run, and simply gets caught by police and sent back to prison. This option allows Cyrus to always be a lingering threat for his enemies in Port Charles, and opens a door to a return at any point. General Hospital spoilers. Possibility number 3. Cyrus is presumed dead. Lastly, another way to keep that door open for a return is if Cyrus is presumed dead. Unlike a clean shot to the chest, Cyrus could go over a cliff or into a body of water during a physical encounter with another character, only for his remains to not be found. Cyrus Renault paced the dimly lit office in his secluded Port Charles hideout, the tension in the air as suffocating as the secrets he kept. The walls were adorned with meticulously crafted maps and surveillance photos of key figures in the city, Michael Corinthos, Sonny Corinthos, and Jocelyn Jacks among them. His endgame was coming together, though the risks had never been higher. In the wake of his Digitalis rampage and the failed hit on Michael Corinthos, Cyrus knew his days were numbered. Port Charles was no stranger to chaos, but the web of crimes he'd woven was tightening around him. Still, a man like Cyrus never left anything to chance. If this was to be his final act, he intended to leave an indelible mark. The unveiling. The evening began like many others in the Corinthos household, tense but tranquil. Sonny Corinthos, seated at his dining table, reviewed the latest reports from his team. Jason Morgan stood nearby, his ever-watchful presence a source of comfort and strength. "Michael's safe for now," Jason began, his voice low. "But Cyrus won't stop until he's finished what he started." Sonny nodded, his gaze fixed on a family photo. "Then we make sure he doesn't get the chance. What's our next move?" Before Jason could respond, the door burst open, revealing Jocelyn Jacks. Her face was flushed with urgency, her hands clutching a small, ominous object, a gun. "We need to talk," she said, her voice trembling but resolute. "I found this in Dex's apartment." Jason's eyes narrowed as he approached her. "Why were you in Dex's place?" Jocelyn's defiance flared. "Because I was cleaning up after him, and I found more than just this. I found messages, notes about Cyrus, and Dex's connection to him." The room fell silent. Sonny's jaw tightened as he processed her words. Are you saying Dex is working for Cyrus? Sonny finally asked, his voice cold and deliberate. I don't know, Jocelyn admitted. But if he is, then Cyrus is closer than we thought. The Predator cornered. Meanwhile, at General Hospital, Elizabeth Baldwin was sorting through patient records when a peculiar entry caught her eye. The Digitalist cases had been haunting her, but something about the patterns in Cyrus's activities triggered a memory. She recalled an interaction with a patient who had mentioned seeing a man matching Cyrus's description sneaking around the hospital late at night. Elizabeth's hands trembled as she pieced the clues together. The evidence was damning, but confronting Cyrus directly would be perilous. She needed to warn someone, anyone, but before she could make the call, the door to the records room creaked open. Cyrus stepped inside, his presence as chilling as a winter's night. You've been busy, Nurse Baldwin, he said, his tone laced with menace. Elizabeth's heart raced, but she refused to show fear. You won't get away with this, she said, gripping the file tightly. I've connected the dots, Cyrus. The Digitalist, the murders, it all leads back to you. He smirked, taking a step closer. You're brave, I'll give you that. But bravery only gets you so far in this world. Before he could act, Elizabeth swung a heavy binder at him, catching him off guard. She bolted from the room, clutching the incriminating file, but Cyrus was hot on her heels. A city united. News of Cyrus's crimes spread quickly. Michael Corinthos called an emergency meeting with key players in Port Charles. Sonny, Jason, and even unlikely allies like Ava Jerome and Anna Devane gathered at the Metro Court to strategize. Cyrus has gone too far this time, Anna declared. We need to pool our resources and end this once and for all. Ava smirked, her sharp wit cutting through the tension. I never thought I'd be on the same side as you lot, but desperate times call for desperate measures. As plans were laid, Jocelyn approached Michael privately. If it comes down to it, I want to be the one to take him out, she said, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions in her eyes. Michael placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You don't have to carry that burden, Joss. Let us handle it. But he's hurt our family, she countered. He's hurt all of us. I won't just stand by. The final confrontation. The showdown came at the docks, a fitting stage for the drama that had been building. Cyrus, cornered but defiant, faced Sonny, Jason, and an unexpected third party, Jocelyn, who had followed them despite Michael's warnings. It's over, Cyrus, Sonny said, his gun trained on the criminal. You've got nowhere to run. Cyrus chuckled, his hands raised in mock surrender. You think this is the end? Port Charles has always thrived on chaos, and I've merely embraced it. Jocelyn stepped forward, her own weapon shaking in her grip. You've taken enough from us. This ends now. Before anyone could react, Cyrus lunged at Jocelyn, attempting to disarm her. A struggle ensued, the tension snapping like a taut wire. In the chaos, a gunshot echoed through the night. Cyrus staggered, a look of shock on his face. He collapsed, blood pooling beneath him. Jocelyn stood frozen, the smoking gun still in her hand. Jason moved quickly, taking the weapon from her. It's okay, Joss. It's over. Sonny knelt by Cyrus, checking for a pulse. He's gone, he said grimly. Aftermath. The days that followed were a blur. Jocelyn struggled with the weight of what she'd done, but her family and friends rallied around her. Elizabeth's testimony and the evidence she gathered ensured that Cyrus's crimes would not be forgotten, even in death. Port Charles began to heal, though the scars of Cyrus's reign remained. For Sonny and his allies, it was a victory, but one tinged with loss and reflection. They'd won the battle, but the war for their city's soul was far from over. Epilogue. Months later, as the city returned to its rhythm, a shadowy figure watched from the edge of town. Presumed dead, Cyrus Renault was very much alive, biding his time and plotting his return. Port Charles had seen the last of him for now.